SES go.
Propulsion go.
ABI.
ABI's go.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello and welcome to SpaceX's coverage of the O3b mPower mission for our customer, SES. On your screen is a live view of Falcon 9 awaiting its 5:12 p.m. Eastern Time launch from Space Launch Complex 40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station in Florida. My name is Tyler Lionquist and I am a Starlink analyst here at SpaceX, joining you today from Hawthorne, California. Today's launch will mark SpaceX's 5th O3b mPower launch for SES. So far, we've launched 8 O3b mPower spacecraft, with another 2 on board the second stage today. SES's O3b second-generation mPower system operates about 8,000 kilometers above Earth's surface, which is referred to as MEO, or Medium Earth Orbit. The initial mPower constellation is comprised of 13 high-throughput and low-latency satellites, along with extensive ground infrastructure. It looks really pretty on the cameras today, but weather is a watch item, with a current flight rule probability of violation at 60%. We'll keep you updated with weather as we get closer to launch. If needed, a backup opportunity with another 2-hour window is available tomorrow. And as we count down to launch, here's a video from SES with a bit more about today's mission.
Unmatched reliability, flexibility, security, and throughput at scale. These are the non-negotiables of high-performance networks today. With intelligent space systems leading the charge in connecting the globe, the possibilities for innovation and transformation are endless. And O3b mPower is at the core of that. Watch with us as the next pair of O3b mPower satellites roars into space. The 9th and 10th O3b mPower satellites will scale the 8th satellite constellation already in operation at medium Earth orbit, 8,000 kilometers from the Earth's surface, unlocking increased capacity and bringing enhanced network efficiency to the system. As the market demand for MEO services continues to soar, our bolstered fleet empowers even more governments, enterprises, and communities across Asia-Pacific, Africa, the Middle East, and the Americas, solving connectivity challenges, driving digital inclusion, and enabling next-generation AI applications.
With the addition of these 2 powerful satellites, our O3b mPower constellation continues to set standard for global connectivity. O3b mPower satellites are the most powerful, technically advanced, flexible constellation in space. Our O3b mPower services are in high demand, and we're eagerly waiting for this new 2 pair of satellites to strengthen our MEO network. These 2 new satellites bring incremental capacity to scale up services provided by our second-generation MEO system, enabling us to meet the evolving needs of our customers around the world. Since becoming operational in 2024, our O3b mPower system has been successfully serving our mobility, government, enterprise, and cloud customers around the world, bringing critical connectivity where it matters the most. Our key customers include many cruise lines, fast-growing airline customers, NATO, government of Luxembourg, government of the United States, and many other allied governments. I'm very proud of our SES team and partner teams that continue pushing boundaries of what's possible in space. Thank you to Boeing for building these powerful satellites, and thank you to SpaceX for our continued partnership. Let's watch the launch.
Quick correction on the weather, we are 60% favorable for launch. So that is Falcon 9 on your screen. It is a two-stage rocket that is 229 feet tall and is getting ready for liftoff in just under 7.5 minutes. At launch, it produces more than 1.7 million pounds of thrust. The bottom section is the first stage, or booster, powered by 9 Merlin engines. They'll burn for the first couple of minutes, carrying Falcon 9 through the thickest layers of Earth's atmosphere. If you've ever watched a launch in person, you'll know that the vehicle doesn't go just straight up. Early in flight,
Engine
Falcon
show
9
has started.
Good call out. So early in flight, Falcon 9 performs a gravity turn, a smooth pitch maneuver that tilts the rocket sideways to build up horizontal velocity. You might hear this about 10 seconds after launch as vehicle pitching downrange. Once the first stage completes its portion of the mission, it shuts down and separates. A staged rocket like Falcon 9 sheds the booster to eliminate the weight and uncover the Merlin vacuum engine on stage 2. To reach orbit, the vehicle needs to go fast, hitting an orbital velocity of about 28,000 kilometers per hour just to keep from falling
Stage
back
1
to Earth.
RP1 load is complete.
And another good call out. So that's fast enough to lap the Earth in about 90 minutes, or to fly from New York to LA in just under 10 minutes, about 7 times faster than the fastest airplane. After stage separation, today's booster will land on our drone ship, Just Read the Instructions, which is currently stationed in the Atlantic Ocean. And this particular booster will be returning to Earth for its 6th time. The second stage will take over from there, powered by the Merlin vacuum engine, also known as the MVAC. With its extended nozzle and optimized design, the MVAC drives maximum performance in the vacuum of space. And today we'll ignite that engine 3 times before deploying the payload into orbit. Topping it all off is the payload fairing, a 17-foot wide carbon composite shell that protects the payload during the uphill trip through the atmosphere. For today's mission, we have 2 spacecraft on the second stage and inside the fairing. Each payload will deploy at separate times, about 7 minutes apart from each other. Because of the launch adapter used for today's mission, we will not have a good view of the payloads, and so we'll be ending today's broadcast on stage 1 landing. We'll confirm a successful deploy later on X.
Tanks are pressing for strong back retract.
About 3 minutes into flight, both halves of the fairing will separate and then parachute back down to Earth. If recovery goes to plan, the fairings will be pulled from the ocean and prepped to fly again. One fairing half is flying for its 21st time today, and the other half is flying for its 9th time. Next up in the countdown, the transporter erector has already begun to...
Strong back retract has started.
There we go. It's going to retract away from Falcon 9. It's that large truss structure that you see standing next to the rocket. It's hinged at the base and is connected to the launch mount beneath the first stage. First, those clamp arms around the second stage will start to open. Then the TE will begin to pivot back. Oh, you can see that they're opening right now. And then once the TE pivots back, swinging away from the rocket, it'll reach its full recline by T-minus 3 minutes and 40 seconds. Those clamp arms at the top help stabilize the second stage during fueling and also prevent movement in high winds. Now that they're fully open, the rocket is fully free at the top. You can see that it's starting to pull away from the rocket now. So the strong back does a lot more than just do that lean. It rolls the Falcon 9 out to the pad, raises it vertical, and then stays connected through to the final seconds. It provides fuel, power, telemetry, and command connections between ground systems and the rocket. So right now,
Stage 1 LOX load is complete.
there is confirmation of Stage 1 LOX load completion. The second stage will finish up about a minute later. So right now, we are nearly fully loaded with about 1 million pounds of propellant, including RP1, a highly refined kerosene, and liquid oxygen chilled to 300 degrees below zero. Propellant is loaded late in the countdown, and that's intentional. Colder propellants are denser, and denser propellants mean more performance out of the same tanks. The colder it is, the more mass that you can move. Before any of that propellant flows, though, the plumbing and engines are chilled down. That prevents thermal shock and boil off when the ultra-cold liquid starts moving. You might hear that referred to as engine chill.
Stage 2 LOX load is complete.
Great call out. So the first and second stages are now fully loaded with over 1 million pounds of rocket-grade kerosene fuel and liquid oxygen. At T-minus 60 seconds, Falcon 9 will enter startup, and at that point, the rocket's onboard flight computers will take over. From there on out, the countdown becomes fully autonomous. Just inside of T-minus 2 seconds, the 9 Merlin 1D engines will ignite, and once they're at full power, Falcon 9 will lift off the pad and begin its climb to orbit. In
Ground gas closeouts has started.
In case you're curious about those white clouds venting from the rocket, that isn't smoke, it's actually condensation. As the liquid oxygen warms inside the tanks, some of it boils off. We then vent that gas to manage pressure. When the vented oxygen hits the warm air, it instantly condenses into those clouds.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
At this point, the autonomous flight computers have taken over the launch countdown, and stages 1 and 2 are pressurizing for launch. Finally, we are waiting for the final go directive from the launch director.
The launch director is go for launch.
Just heard that the launch director has given us the final go. At T-minus 30 seconds, all systems are go for the launch of Falcon 9 and O3b mPower.
Seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff. Go Falcon, go mPower.
Vehicle is pitching downrange.
M1D chamber pressure is nominal.
At T plus 30 seconds and counting, Falcon 9 has successfully lifted off from Pad 40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, carrying the O3b mPower payload. In just a few seconds, we'll throttle the engines down in preparation for max Q, which is the period
Power and telemetry nominal.
Period of maximum aerodynamic pressure. This is a critical moment during flight because the combined stress
Falcon 9 is supersonic.
The combined stress is caused by Falcon 9 accelerating through the atmosphere, and the ambient static pressure are at their greatest.
Max Q.
And there's the call out for max Q. Now, the rocket typically needs to go 17,500 miles per hour horizontally in order to avoid being pulled back down to Earth and get into orbit. So, if you like, you can track our progress to orbit by watching the left corner of your display that's showing Stage 1 telemetry. Now, we have several events coming up in quick succession, and we should hear all of these called out by Mission Control, starting with Main Engine Cutoff, or MECO, then Stage Separation, SES-1, and Fairing Separation. MECO is where we shut down all 9 M1D engines on the first stage. Stage separation is when the first and second stages of Falcon separate from one another. And then second engine start 1, or SES-1, is when we'll light the MVAC engine on the second stage for the first time. Less than a minute later, the fairing will then jettison from the second stage, as it's no longer needed to protect the payload once we're in space. So let's keep an eye out for these events happening back to back in about 20 seconds from now.
Main engine cutoff.
Stage separation confirmed.
We should be hearing that call out for fairing separation in just a few moments from now. As mentioned earlier, we will be attempting to retrieve these fairing halves once they fall back down to Earth. They'll be taken to shore by our ocean recovery vessel, Bob.
Fairing separation confirmed.
And a great call out for fairing separation. So we are T plus 3 minutes and 38 seconds into today's mission, and we're currently in the first of 2 planned MVEC burns for satellite deployment. The next major milestone is coming up at T plus 6 minutes and 13 seconds, where you should see the first stage's entry burn on your screen. For the entry burn, we'll relight 3 of the M1D engines, starting with the center E9 engine, followed shortly after by the E1 and E5 engines, which slows down the vehicle as it passes back into Earth's atmosphere. You'll be able to follow along with that relight with the graphics along the bottom of your screen. We use that re-entry burn to slow down to reduce the re-entry forces, which helps us recover and reuse the first stage. SES has collaboratively designed the O3b mPower satellites with their long-standing satellite manufacturing partner, Boeing. O3b mPower is built on the proven track record of SES's O3b constellation of 20 MEO satellites. The first-generation MEO system, O3b, has been delivering high-performance communication services since 2014 to customers operating in nearly 50 countries today. SES has been deploying the second-generation O3b mPower services worldwide since April 2024, with the system's core infrastructure deployed, tested, and in use on a global basis. Reusability is the key to lowering the cost of spaceflight, and the Falcon 9's first stage that is supporting today's mission will perform this entry burn for its 6th time. It previously supported SES's mPower mission back in December last year, NASA's Crew 10 mission, SpaceX's Bandwagon 3 rideshare, and 2 Starlink missions. During the entry burn, Falcon 9 is decelerating by firing its Merlin engines, but the vehicle is still moving really fast. This causes it to fly through Merlin's exhaust gases, which are also known as the rocket's plume, and deposits a layer of soot on the vehicle surface, which is why our flight-proven vehicles look the way that they do. That soot comes from the carbon-based fuel that Falcon 9 uses, and with each flight, the soot builds up a little bit more on the outside of the vehicle. Oftentimes, prior to launch, you can see some of that soot from prior flights on the first stage.
Stage 1 entry burn startup. Stage 1 FTS is saved.
And there was the call out for the entry burn startup on the Falcon 9 first stage. This burn is set to last about 25 seconds and again is slowing down the vehicle in preparation for its final burn and landing.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
And there was a great call out for the entry burn shutdown, the completion of the Falcon 9 first stage's entry burn. Coming up next will be SECO 1, or second engine cutoff, in less than a minute, followed by the first stage landing burn. The Merlins on the first stage are optimized for sea level, and these achieve 190,000 pounds of thrust during ascent and descent. The MVEC engine on the second stage, however, has a much wider nozzle.
Stage 2 is in terminal guidance.
And is optimized to 120,500 pounds of thrust and vacuum. Coming up next, we'll start our MVEC engine shutdown on the second stage, followed quickly by the landing burn on the first stage. We can expect
Stage
SECO
1
1.
transonic. Stage 2 FTS is saved.
MVAC shutdown.
We're now coming up on the landing burn for the first stage.
Nominal orbit insertion. Stage 1 landing burn.
There was the call out for the landing burn start on the Falcon 9 first stage, and this is the final burn that this booster will see before touching down on our drone ship. Just read the instructions.
Stage 1 landing leg deploy. Stage 1 landing confirmed.
And there you saw and heard the call out for a successful landing of our Falcon 9 rocket. This landing marks the 6th landing for this booster. We're now just waiting on confirmation of good orbit for the second stage. Now the mission isn't over just yet. The second stage has 2 additional burns prior to payload deploy. That said, we will not have views of payload deploy due to the size of the payload adapter. So we're going to end our mission coverage here. All of us at SpaceX want to give a big thank you to our customer SES for entrusting us with today's mission. We also want to give a shout out to the Range and Federal Aviation Administration for supporting today's launch. And thanks to all of our viewers for tuning in and for your continued support. If you're interested in more launch coverage, be sure to check out spacex.com/launches for the most up-to-date information. And remember to follow at SpaceX on X. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you again soon.